Hello everyone. So we are welcome back in the session of leadership and influence. And in the last session, we have already discussed about the leadership goals for our leadership goals. Now, before proceeding further with this session, I just want you to tell me about one thing: why we have been talking about influence as an important part, important criteria for leadership. Why we have been talking about that as an important area, important aspect of leadership. When we are talking about leadership, the development goals for better leadership, we are talking about motivating, guiding the people, when we're talking about making them do the work which is in favor of the organization. So for all this purpose, one thing which we understand is that is development goals for better leadership. The influencing part under the leadership is something which is very, very important. So when we are talking about the these influence, so leadership and influence, which are something which is directly related to each other. That is why we say that influence is something which is an important and very essential part of leadership. Now, today we are going to discuss about development goals for better leadership. What are the development goals for better leadership? So we have already discussed about these few of the goals, the development goals for better leadership in last session. That is, become an active listener was one of them. That until and unless you are not an active listener, you do not listen to the people effectively, you cannot prove yourself to be an effective leader, to be an active leader. So when we are talking about becoming a leader, still it is very, very important that you become an active listener. If you are an active listener, then yes, you possesses one of the most important quality of being a leader. Second, which we was discussed was constructive feedback. See, feedback is something which is very important, right? But when we're talking about feedback, the feedback needs to be constructive. Feedback needs to be in such a way that the other person understands what you are telling, what you are trying to make them understand. And that is what is known as constructive feedback. So constructive feedback is something which is going to facilitate, facilitate the growth of the employees. Along with the growth of the employees, it is also going to help facilitating the growth of the organization. The next we discussed was they need to be adaptable to the changes and the growth. And next was the improve your emotional intelligence. Last was become more effective. These are the 5 points which we have already discussed in the last session. Now, in today's session, we'll be starting with the 6th point, which says build dynamic team. Leaders team should be dynamic. Now, when we are talking about dynamic, that doesn't mean taking the people, recruiting the people in the team who are dynamic in themselves. No, creating them, making them dynamic, creating a good environment, good atmosphere for them. That is what is known as building your dynamic team. You do not have to hire the person who are dynamic in themselves. Rather, you have to create, you have to build, you have to make the people who are there in your team to be dynamic. Best organizations are diverse and inclusive, compromising unique individuals. So yes, this is absolutely true that the organization will have diverse people, will compromise, will have unique individual. No two individual you will find us will be same, will be similar, right? right? Yes. So the best organization, the leading organization, the growing organization will always have the people from diverse culture, will have the people who are expert in their own specific field. They'll carry the unique individual who possesses, who have unique characteristics, who have unique talent in them. And when you're going to find out a person similar to the existing resource in the organization, you'll not find them, because all the individual will have some different skill set, some different knowledge, some different qualities from what the other person is having. A good leader identify the best employee for a job to create a successful, well-rounded team. So good leader is one who identify the best employee for a job. You are there to identify the best employee, that who is the best employee for this job, who is the best person to do the job, to do the project which we have got, to make it successful and well-rounded team. So that is what, how you're creating a dynamic team, because if you need to know the qualities, the skill, the uniqueness of all the people who are there in the organization. So now what your role is, finding out that and create a successful, giving the job to the employee, to that employee who's going to create it a successful one, who is going to deliver the work successfully. Leaders often tend to hire people who are a lot like themselves. This is absolutely true, that that the people prefer having the people in the team who are similar to them. That doesn't mean they possesses the same quality, no, but they are quite similar to them. So this is, leader often tend to hire people who are lot like themselves, because they see, okay, if the person is like me, then definitely he's going to make progress, he's going to grow. But if person is not like me, then they doesn't feel that confidence over them, and that is the reason why they tend to hire the people who looks similar to them. Last point says, the more eclectic team that they can bind, that are still in coherence with each other, the better. So the more better team you have that can stand together, that can work together, the more better results you tend to deliver. So that is why we say that build a dynamic team for yourself. Next is lead by example. But here you should learn the art of giving the example. The example shouldn't be given in such a way where you're trying to disrespect the other person. No, the example should be given in such a way where you just tend to motivate the other person to understand that why that example was being given to you, what you are trying to, like what exactly you are trying to convey to them. So the culture and the foundation of a business starts with the leadership. Do you agree that the culture for foundation of a business starts with a leader? If you do not have a leader, if there is no leader, you cannot create, you cannot build a successful organization, because the pillars of the successful organization are the successful leaders, the leadership where the leaders are showing in the organization, because no organization is successful until and unless they do not have strong leaders who are leading others, who are showing the path to others, and who are making the organization to go in a specific direction. Organization stands not on the ground, it stands on the shoulders of the leaders, the strong leaders. They act as the strong pillars of the organization, holding the organization to just move up, grow up, touch the sky. But if you do not have those strong leaders in the organization, if you do not have those strong people in the organization, you cannot make your organization grow. You cannot make your organization number one. So that is why this truly said the culture and the foundation, the basics, the ground level reality of the organization starts with its leadership. How effective leaders, how good leaders are there in your team. On that basis, you are going to decide about the leadership. Embody those traits which you want your team to show. Tell them those traits. Okay, these are the qualities which I'm looking into you. These are the traits, these are the work which I'm looking forward, that yes, you are going to do that work. You're going to deliver that work effectively and efficiently. So basically, when we are talking about lead by example, leading by example means setting the true example for your employees. Being a leader, they should see in you that yes, you are a committed person, you are a goal-oriented person, you are a motivated person. When they're going to see all these qualities in you, they're going to learn from those qualities. They're going to see, then you're going to ask them that you have to be motivated. Sorry, you need to be goal-oriented. So these traits, when you will show them these traits, then only you can ask them to show these traits back to you, to show these traits in your team. Setting a poor example, your employees will likely follow that as well. What do you think? The employees are going to take only the positive sides of you, positive parts of you? Definitely not. The employees are going to learn the negative aspects as well. If they see anything negative which you are doing, let's say you are not the man of your words, they will learn that from you. They'll follow that. Okay, do the promise, make the commitment, but it's okay. If you complete that well on time or not, that is completely fine. So the example which you're going to set for them, the same thing you are going to see in them, because basically you're not setting the example, you're leaving the footprints and they are following your footprints. They are just coming in forward by putting their footprint, that putting their leg on the footprints which you have marked for them. So that is why it becomes very important that you set the right footprints for them. If you do not set the right footprint, you will get the same thing in return. Lead with exemplary actions. Have those actions, create those actions where you see that, yes, these actions are something which will give you reward. These actions are something which will motivate your team to move in the forward direction. Said lead with those exemplary actions. Lead with those things rather than just sitting and leading the things in any way, letting the things to flow out in whatever way they want, and at the end just regretting having such people in your team, because it's not the fault of the people who are there in your team. It is your fault that you couldn't lead them with your exemplary action. You couldn't set the right examples for them. You couldn't set the right footprints for them, and they followed your action. Lead by example and not illustrate how turbulent times may be affecting you on a personal level. No, lead by example. Give the example of other people whose example are relevant to the situation which you're trying to explain them, which you're trying to make them understand, rather than being personal, rather than making them understand in such a way where they think things to be personal to them. Do not do that. Always lead by setting the right and the good example for your team. Next point says, show appreciation, recognition, and empathy for your team. Forget everything and just remember one thing, that if you're not appreciating your team members, if you're not recognizing them, if you're not showing empathy towards your team members are not going to give you the returns. They are not going to work effectively for the second time, where they'll see that our hard work was not paid off. There's no recognition which we have got for the work, for the efforts which we have done, and due to which the organization have achieved a new milestone. If you're not showing the appreciation to them, if you're not recognizing their efforts, if you're not showing empathy to them, you will regret at the end. So express your gratitude and appreciation for your team. Express that thing. Show your gratitude, show your appreciation, appreciate them for even the small achievement which they have made, for even the smallest thing which they have achieved in the organization. See, there is leader need to encourage the team members. The simple word saying, I appreciate you more because of the road you have traveled, because of the work you have done. This is going to simply make that employee fly in the sky. Because it is rightly said that if you do not show appreciation to those that deserve it, they will learn to stop doing the things you appreciate. Listen to the quotation again, just give it a think and just explain me what this means. It says, if you do not show your appreciation to those that deserve it, they learn to stop doing the things that you appreciate. Listen again. If you do not show appreciation to the things those deserve it, they will learn to stop doing the things you appreciate. What does this line mean? What does this quotation mean? Quickly think. I'm giving you 2 minutes. I'm writing the quotation in the chat box. Think over it. I've shared that in the chat box. Let me just use the whiteboard and let me just put the quotation over there. I want you to explain me that quotation. Sorry. Is that visible in your chat box? Yes. If you do not show appreciation to that deserve it, those that deserve it, they will learn to stop doing the things appreciate. Come on, have a quick look, understand this quotation and explain me the same. I'm giving you just 1 minute, 60 seconds you have. Quickly go through this. Yes. So this quotation simply means if you're not going to appreciate their work, if you're not going to appreciate them for whatever they have done, they'll stop doing, they'll stop giving their best towards that thing, because ultimately what they will see is their hard work. Their work is not getting paid off. You are even not recognizing their efforts, their work, which they are doing, and just because of this they'll stop doing that. So make sure that whenever you see a person is doing something good, a person's work is worth appreciating, make sure you are recognizing, you're awarding them, you're appreciating them, not in person but in front of your entire team. Express gratitude and appreciation for your team. If it's a team effort, if it was an individual effort, always make sure that you are expressing your gratitude. You're appreciating your team for whatever they have done. Now, having a team of satisfied employees can boost productivity and reduce turnover rate. Why people why the employees leave the organization while that turnover rate is very high in the organization? Until and unless the team do not see that there's something where the work is not getting appreciated, their productivity is not being recognized, they will plan of turning off their job. They'll leave the organization. So if you will have a satisfied employee, if you will have the people in your team who are satisfied with the organization, satisfied with the leader, they are never going to leave the organization. They'll never leave the organization because they are satisfied. A satisfied employee is the one who will never leave the organization. So having a team of satisfied employees, when you'll see that you have a team of satisfied employees, you will see that it is going to boost their productivity, and along with boosting the productivity, it will also reduce the turnover rate of the employees in the organization. Recognize your staff publicly so that they know that they are valued and appreciated. You need to give them the feeling that yes, you belong to this organization. You are the important part of this organization. Your work, your efforts are being valued in this organization. So recognize your staff publicly so that they know that yes, you value them, you appreciate them, you recognize them, and this thing should be in public. That's why we have clearly used this word publicly, not personally, not over email, not on telephonic conversation. No, it should be at a place where a group of people are seeing them, because until and unless they are not going to get recognition and appreciation in front of their colleagues, in front of the subordinates with whom they're working, that appreciation, that recognition is going to be of no use for the employees. It is very important that you recognize your staff publicly so that they know, they understand that yes, you value them and you appreciate the work which they have done. Have a company-wide meeting where staff can give a shout out to each other on who has been helping them in every possible way. This is another way of appreciating and recognizing the efforts of the employees, where you're just organizing a monthly or a quarterly meeting, or after finishing the project, giving them, the employees, the free space, the free platform, the open platform where they can just speak out the name of the person who have always shown help to them, who have been there for them as and when the help was required. Let them shoot out the name of each and every person who have helped them out in making that project successful. So having a company-wide meeting, giving the open platform to share the names of the people, to recognize them. It's not about giving them the award. Here, when I'm talking about a company-wide meeting, it's not about giving the recognition, giving the appreciation, you're giving a token of love. No, it's just about letting each and every person know that who was the person who have helped you, who is the person who is the helping source for the organization, who always stand by the people side to show the help. And this is the best way to appreciate and recognize those people. And the last point says, be honest, transparent, and accountable. Honesty, transparency, and accountability of the work which you have done. Be honest, be transparent with the team. Whatever work you want your team to deliver, tell them, explain them properly, tell them clearly. Do not have any hidden facts and figures where you're not telling them exactly what is to be done, and ultimately this is causing problem. So be honest and be transparent with your team. Whatever details you get, whatever things you get to know, make sure that you are always being transparent and honest Second one says, take accountability for their action. Okay, being a leader, it is your responsibility as well as your duty to take the accountability, no matter within the team. When you're in the team meeting, you can tell them that this is the work which you couldn't do correctly, these are the mistakes. But when your team is standing in front of others, you need to be accountable that, okay, I'm responsible for whatever is done. It's not my team fault. You need to be accountable for their action because you are a leader. You cannot blame them in front of the entire organization saying that I told them what is to be done, but they couldn't do it correctly. It was their fault. No, that should not be there. You are the leader, and being a leader, it is very important that you take the accountability of the action of your team members, accountable for all the action, for all the work which your team members do. Yeah, sorry. Yes. So you need to take the accountability of their action, not only your action, whatever work they are doing, whatever things they are doing, you need to be accountable for them as well, because it is very important for you to stand by your team side, not making them stand alone. Facilitate trust between management and the employees. It is again your duty to facilitate the trust between the management as well as with the employees. There need to be a strong trust, strong bond of trust, which should be there between you and your team members and your employees and the management. You need to present your team to the management in a positive way, but by having the transparency, and whatever the management is communicating to you to be communicated to the employees, that should also be done in the transparent way, where you are telling them what exactly is to be done. And the last point says, give employees notice and be transparent with your plan. Give them the notice, be transparent, what exactly you want. A leader who himself is not sure that what he want the team members to do, he cannot make the team members to work in an effective way. Why? Because when you are not clear, just tell me if you are not clear with what exactly the team has to do. You cannot guide them, you cannot show them. So for that purpose, make sure you give employees the notice, give them the notice, okay, this is the work which is to be done in this way during this situation, and be very transparent with your plan. Have that transparency that, okay, this is the plan which I am making, which I am doing, and I want you to stick with that plan on. So with this, we have finished this topic where we were discussing about development goals for better leadership. Now, if you want to be a better leader, if you want to be an effective leader, an efficient leader, then you have to make sure that you keep all these points, all these things in your mind. Because if you do not be active listener, you do not recognize them, you do not be honest and transparent with them, you don't take the accountability. Okay, I think we have left one thing, that is be a mentor. Okay, sorry, one point we have left, that is be a mentor. So teams looks to you for coaching, counseling, guidance, and so make effective mentorship a priority when setting goal. You are not just a team leader. At times, you act as a mentor also for them. You are the mentor also. So when we are talking about the mentor, it is very important that you provide your coaching, provide your counseling, provide your help to each and every person who is in your team. Create a development plan that helps each team member grow as an individual and in their role. You need to create that plan which will help the individual. Now it cannot be a group plan. It needs to be an group plan. It needs to be an individual plan, not a group plan. Meet with each member of their team to explore their career goals. Now, see, being a mentor simply means knowing your employees in an effective way. Knowing your employees, observing your employees closely so that you understand their needs, you understand their goals, you understand their aim, what exactly they want. So for having the understanding about all those things, it is very, very important that you understand them properly. Meet with each member of their team to explore their career goals. Work with them then to think about ways they can achieve these goals, and care about their personal development by taking the time to listen to them and with new opportunities to challenge them. So these are the things which you need to keep in mind when you are setting up your leadership goals. So when we are talking about development of the leadership goal plan, so for all these are the small things, but these plays a very important role in making you a effective leader. Any doubts still here? No? Okay, if you do not have doubts, we are done with today's session. We'll start with the next session of the day in next 10 minutes. In the next session of